Content and language supports. These supports are available on the STAR online test only, not available for Algebra 2 or English 3. A student may use these supports if he or she is using this routinely, independently, and effectively during classroom instruction and testing. This chart shows the classroom accommodation examples that link to STAR content and language supports. The following website is where you can find a copy of this chart. Content and language supports include pop-ups that isolate information that corresponds to each answer choice. Here is another example of a pop-up that also isolates information that corresponds to an answer choice. Here you see an example of a math problem where the pop-up isolates information that corresponds to an answer choice. This pop-up provides a formula from the reference material. STAR Online also provides pop-ups that provides supplemental aids, example a map. Pop-ups also provide visual representation, like this photograph of a historical figure. This is another example of a supplementary material used for STAR Biology for content and language support. Pop-ups also provide a visual representation that will help students with vocabulary. This provides a visual representation of the language in a reading selection. Pop-ups also provide clarification for vocabulary words for ELL students. This is an example of a rollover that clarifies text using simpler language. Another language and content support is pre-reading text, which appears before all reading and writing selections. Special situations. Content and language supports are available on STAR Online, although some of these things can be replicated on the paper version. Technology-based supports enable most students to test online. However, a special administration request can be made for TEA and must be approved. To administer a paper test with these, you need to show that the use of an accommodation is not feasible or appropriate for an online administration, or the administration of an online test is inappropriate due to the student's particular disability. The instructions for submitting this request are available on the TA's District and Campus Coordinator's Manual. Oral administration. Oral administration with paper or online assessments. If testing on paper, the test administrator must document levels. The online assessment, which is a text-to-speech, includes embedded support. Do not document levels. For oral administration, if a student is in need of an oral administration plus must use content and language supports, then the best test option would be STAR Online. Oral and sign administration. For this particular administration, TA approval is not required. We have the description of the designated support, what paper assessments it's available for the online test, examples and types of oral administration that you would be using, and special instructions and considerations. Designated supports for reading and writing that impact the exit criteria. Students for whom the LPAC recommends any of the following designated supports for reading and writing including English 1 and English 2, will not be considered for exiting at the end of the school year. Designated supports such as oral administration, content and language supports on the online assessment, extra time. For assessments with multiple administrations, EOC or SSI, STAR designated support decisions can be carried over from spring to the June administration only. However, LPACs must document any changes in a student situation that have occurred during and in between administrations of each assessment. What about dictionaries? New for this year, dictionaries for reading and writing in grades 3 to 5, not included in the STAR dictionary policy and no longer a designated support. Dictionaries must be available to all students who take STAR grades 3 to 8 reading test, STAR grades 4 to 7 writing test, STAR Spanish grades 3 to 5 reading test, STAR Spanish grade 7 writing test, and STAR English 1, English 2, and English 3 assessments. LPAC should become familiar with the updated STAR dictionary policy for all students. Dictionary policy change and its impact on ELL exit criteria. The use of dictionaries on reading and writing assessments does not prevent an ELL students to be considered for exit at the end of the school year. However, it is important for LPACs to consider the degree to which the student relies on a dictionary during language arts instruction or testing when making exit decisions. TA also states that dictionaries must be available to all students taking the following assessments. Dictionary policies are available at the following links. Remember, dictionaries can be found under the accessibility features. Decisions about special provisions, exemptions, and multiple administrations. For English 1 and EOC 1, TA has provided a special provision. For ELLs who have been enrolled in U.S. schools 3 years or less, 5 years if they're considered a qualifying unschooled asylee and refugee, and the student has not yet attained advanced high on the reading TELPUS, starting in 2nd grade or above, and are enrolled in English 1 or ESL 1, may be eligible and not required to take the assessment each time it is administered. If the student passes the course but does not pass the test, students are not exempt from testing while in the course. Provisions are not applied to English 2 or English 3, and this provision is not tied to any particular graduation plan. For students taking English 1 and ESL 1, and a special provision is being applied, the following form must be filled out and must be filed in the Student Special Programs folder. Exemptions are only available for qualifying asylees and refugees. This is only allowed for certain qualifying ELL asylees and refugees that are being administered a STAR assessment in grades 3 to 8. The student has to be in his first year of school, and a form must be in place identifying him as a qualifying asylee and refugee. ELLs with parental denials. LPACs may not recommend designated supports, special assessment considerations, or accountability provisions for an ELL whose parents have denied bilingual or ESL services. This includes no designated supports, no testing in Spanish, no English 1 special provision, and no unschooled asylee or refugee provision. Documentation of STAR test decisions. For documentation, LPACs will be using the 2018 Summary Assessment Form for 3 to 8. You already filled out this form for the assessment department. You will use this form to transfer all information into Elevation. And your documentation will be on Elevation. For high school, you will use the EOC Summary Assessment Form. Whatever you document on the assessment form that you provide for assessment, you will be using that information. You use that form to enter your information into Elevation. Student History Worksheet. Remember, you must document the number of years of enrollment in U.S. schools, the TELPA's reading rating, any test decisions, and if a student has been enrolled 60 consecutive school days in a U.S. school, then that is considered 1 school year. Remember to include signature and dates of each year's updated information to help ensure annual accuracy of this important data collection. This is a student history worksheet that must be filled out and filed in the Student Special Programs folder.